Hello viewers, welcome to this tutorial. So we're explaining what the default value means and a non-default value. Sorry I couldn't explain this in a previous tutorial as I said, but I'm going to deal with it. Yeah, deal with it in this tutorial. So this is what we'll be learning today: non-default value and default value. This is the last for our function tutorial, then we are done with it. Okay, so let's just jump into what we have to know. Okay, so you already know what this code is. Okay, you should understand this by now. If not, go back to the function tutorial to get it clearer. So what is a default value? Now check this first. These are positional arguments. Okay, positional argument because we are not using this variable here with an equal sign. Okay, we can have this variable here. Okay, just check it. You can have, let me if I name this one first value, and I come here and type first value, you know, two types of first value has been given. The first value is just the variable at the top here, and the second first value is a parameter which has an equal sign. So if I select this one, what will happen is it transforms itself from positional argument to keyword argument. But if I claim the equal sign, it uses this first value, but immediately I bring the equal sign, is now a keyword argument, so it will work as keyword. And remember to bring it after the positional argument. Okay, so this is just how to know the difference among them. All right, but basically we're dealing with positional arguments and how we can do with default values and non-default values. So let's jump into them now. A default value is a value where we pre-assign or we assign a value to the argument we have here, okay, whilst we are declaring the function. So all these variables we have here, you can realize they have no predefined values. So we have to say equal 10, and we also have to say equal 9. Okay, so what we've done here is now termed as a keyword argument. That's a keyword argument. It's now termed as a default argument. Default means we have pre-assigned values into them. So if these values are passed into the first value, it will overwrite. Okay, so if I run this code, you see you're seeing 4 and 6, but here is 10 and 9 because they are positional arguments. So the 10 will be overwritten and replaced with 4, and the 9 will be overwritten and replaced with 6. So that is how they work. But these ones are default values that should anything happens, okay, and we don't want to pass these ones within our code. Just use these values, they are kind of good to go. So these are some of the things we should be knowing in our coding and other stuff. So we can do so many things with them, and having defined default values. So if they have nothing, then it's called a non-default value. Okay, but if they contain something, they are called a default value. But bear in mind, just as a keyword argument should follow a positional argument, meaning a positional argument cannot follow a keyword argument. If you don't really know what this is, go back to the previous tutorial. The same way, a non-default value should come before a default value. Okay, so if I do something like this, it will give me an error because this is a default value and this is a non-default value. So you should make sure you swap them. So look at the error they give to us. Non-default argument follows default argument. They're trying to say there is a non-default argument here which is following a default argument, and it's a syntax error. So we have to make sure we rather swap this one and bring it here. Okay, so you already know what we have to do. So swap this one and kind of bring it here. So but with what we have done, this will still be assigned to this. So with respect to positional values, you have to bring this here. So you now see why in the previous tutorial I asked you to use keyword argument. Okay, so that this value will be sent to this one and this will be sent to this. So instead of saying value second value, I have to say value 2, value 2. Okay, value 2. Oh who is tampering with my computer? Okay, value 2. Okay, so this is what we just have to know. So if you're using positional argument, then it will be kind of tricking you up. You have to be careful which one you are assigning to this. So the same thing, keyword or default argument or non-default argument should come before default argument. So let's try to use this in an let's try to use this in default or maybe keyword argument. Okay, so in keyword argument, the only thing we can do is bring here and say first value equals 9, and we can say second value, okay, equals 10. So there is no need to be changing the name. So keyword arguments are very necessary. So if I run the code, you have 9 and 10. So first value is 9, it replaces the 10 and we print 9, and the second is 10, it just prints the 10 for you. So this is an advantage of keyword argument. So this tutorial is just to make you understand what the default value is and what the non-default value is. So let me go back to it. We have 10 and we have second value which is also 9. Okay, so this is what we have. Then it will overwrite all these values and reassign them. So if I run this code, we have 9 and 10 instead of 10 and 9. Okay, so this is the basic thing you have to know about keyword arguments and positional arguments, and more importantly, default values and non-default values. So just know how to play around with them. And the reason why I made this tutorial is because you have to know how to arrange them. Okay, so you'll not end up mixing them and not knowing what to do, bringing this before this, bringing that before that. So just be careful how you manipulate them. If it will confuse you, then after using the default values, it's best to use what we term as this keyword argument. So you just assign it to value 1. Okay, it makes your code simple, and also assign this to value 2. Okay, so it makes it simple. You don't need to wonder which position is this, which position is that. Just use this once and just assign them. So this is for the tutorial. We're done with function. The next tutorial we're dealing with something so great. Check out for it how to read and write append to a file, and after that we continue with that tutorial. Subscribe if you have not, ring the bell if you have also not received our updates, and like the video. Thank you for viewing.